Yo no voy a mentir. He estado metido en About. Creo que demasiado tiempo. Hermano, tengo el celular por aquí. Pero puedo decir que llevo alrededor de 60 a 70 horas. Ya estamos terminando el tercer mapa. Vamos para la última región. Mejor dicho, región. Estamos terminando ya en el final de la tercera región. No encontré más subquest, así que asumo que terminé todo en esa área. Eso sí, no encontré una pieza para poner un tótem, que tú pones un montón de como diferentes partes y te da diferentes bonus. Pero en fin, Above literalmente creo que era el RPG que yo necesitaba este año. Un poquito open world, low pacing. He tomado decisiones buenas, he tomado malas decisiones, pero al final, no les voy a mentir, me lo he disfrutado. Vamos a ver esto. Monster Hunter está por ahí. Me están presionando. Probablemente llegue antes de lo que yo quisiera. Quisiera no llegar tan rápido, porque siento que Monster Hunter es alrededor de 500 horas este año, para no exagerar. Aunque el review fue 8. Yo esperaba un 10 de 10. Las ventas están bien exageradas. Los números de Monster Hunter están bien exagerados. Dicen que debería ser el Game of the Year. No sé. ¿Qué ustedes creen? Vamos a ver esto. Vamos a ver este review. Es verdad. Vamos a ver de qué trata esto. Que parece ser visto en Twitter. No, súper exagerado.
I'm certain that developer Hazelight Studios was positively brimming with ideas of what to do next. I'm certain of this because the team appears to have used every one of those ideas in Split Fiction.
¿Cuántos amigos están dispuestos a jugar esto? Con uno. Aguantarte, soportarte.
Split Fiction is non-stop co-op satisfaction that had me smiling consistently as we progressed, parkoured, and pulverized our way through to one of the best finales I've ever played.
Hay esta película, ¿cómo se llama? Me olvidé el nombre. Futurística, que salió Arnold y salió este otro.
Is it a third-person action adventure? Is it an extreme sports game? Or a side-scroller? Or a twin-stick shooter? The answer is yes.
We're good. We're good.
¿Está todo bien?
This is such a cliché.
Enséñame gameplay.
Split Fiction is the story of two young and unsuccessful authors, Zoe and Mio, lured to a mysterious tech company by the prospect of finally being published.
My parents always say I should quit writing and get a real job, but look at me now.
What they didn't count on, however, was having their brains strip-mined of every story they've ever conceived.
Welcome to the next chapter of storytelling.
Le van a robar todo esa imaginación y esos recuerdos.
When a scuffle involving a suspicious Mio thrusts her into Zoe's personal instance within the computer system, the two find themselves forced to work together to escape and foil the company's plot.
There is something this publisher is not telling us.
Zoe and Mio are quickly and effectively...
Obvio que hay algo que no le están diciendo. Miren dónde se encuentran. En dónde ustedes están metidas.
Established as polar opposites in everything from their attitudes to their accents, but Split Fiction wastes little time tossing them together.
Okay.
It's an easy-to-grasp premise, and it's almost baffling that it hasn't come along in a dozen games already. That is, the idea of being trapped in an interactive virtual world is a trope that's been
Si no has visto Matrix, deberías hacerlo lo antes posible. Tómate tu tiempo, vela.
Mixed repeatedly in film.
Nos quedamos esperando la segunda parte de Ready Player Number 1.
In 2025 as a
Estamos esperando. ¿Para cuándo? Esa computadora se me parece a una que hicieron recién por ahí, cuántica.
You will all undergo a unique simulation of your story. And during the experience, we will record and store it all. and then package and publish.
The fact that, at its heart, Split Fiction is two proud middle fingers to the conga line of entitled tech bros who've decided art is a commodity that can be scraped, stolen, and repackaged by their plagiarism engines only adds to its charm.
The machine is fully operational and is successfully extracting all of their ideas.
Dominaste tu mente.
La máquina literalmente...
Todo mientras ibas de camino a casa. Audible.
¿El anuncio para cuándo?
Para imaginar al escuchar.
Ay, bendito.
El servidor EVA ya está abierto.
¿Qué?
Sé el primero en el mundo.
Perdónenme.
De un MMORPG.
Yo no tengo el YouTube Premium. Yo soy literalmente como todos ustedes, una persona trabajadora. Y no tengo para darme ese gran lujo. Así que, pues, perdonen un anuncio de vez en cuando. En fin. Lo que están haciendo es robándole las ideas a todo este corillo de gente que tienen allí. Pues, ¿esto para qué? ¿Qué cosa? ¿Pero para qué es eso? ¿Para hacer un juego? Ok, cool. Me parece bien.
As with It Takes Two before it, Split Fiction's platforming is immediately on point. With a jump,
Prince of Persia,
double jump, and
parkour.
air dash at each character's disposal, Split Fiction boasts the same high degree of aerial maneuverability
Esto es
as
un
its
parkour
predecessor.
game.
Wall runs can be spectacularly chained, grappling hooks are thrilling swings or
Esto es un parkour
slingshots,
game
and
casi.
rails, poles, and tiny landing spots have a soft lock that draws Zoe and
Yo
Neo
conozco a
onto
alguien que le encantaría jugar esto conmigo. Chinito, ¿tú te atreves a jugar un parkour game conmigo? Co-op. No me ajores. Te toca esperarme. Yo no soy muy bueno para estos juegos. Yo no soy bueno para
so long
esto.
as you've pointed them
Lo puedo
largely in the
hacer.
right direction.
¿Quién sabe? A
The
lo mejor
upshot
no
is
soy
a
tan malo
movement
nada.
system that's extremely approachable and easy to become adept with
Pero
quite
estos jueguitos
fast.
me dan
And one
ansiedad.
that focuses on
Mucha.
momentum and timing rather than getting
No te
too bogged
caigas.
down punishing
Dale, dale, ahora,
tiny mistakes
ahora.
or a
Ahí,
lack
sigue lo
of
que
expert
llegaste.
level finesse.
Nice.
It's
nice.
like having just one bumper up in a bowling alley.
Ah, con los
It's happy to
missiles,
give you a
con los
slight nudge in
missiles.
the right direction on occasion, but it's not going to render you immune from making mistakes entirely. My only real criticism of the platforming is that there are a few occasions where it becomes tricky to catch up after
¿Y esto
falling
qué
behind
son?
your partner,
Mono,
as one player
ogro.
hurtles ahead and the other gets stuck in a brief
Esos son
loop of
como
dying
ogros,
and
sí, sí.
respawning trying to get back on track.
Ogro.
It's also a minor bugbear having
Okay.
both Zoe and Mio simply clipping through each other.
Ay, ay,
whenever they
Pali, ¿qué
occupy
hace
the
ese
same
corillo ahí?
space,
Que ellos
as
están
it
esperando
results
la
in a
cena.
surprisingly unfinished look. Make no mistake, having one character become an actual obstacle for the other would totally
Uno
destroy
del mundo
the
bien
snappy pace of
futurístico
Split
y el
Fiction.
otro bien
But it would have looked so much better
literalmente
and still made
Lord
perfect
of the
sense
Rings,
with
bien
some
ancient,
kind of
bien
digitized
mitológico,
effect breaking up
mítico.
Zoe and Mio's avatars whenever they found themselves perched on the same tiny platform.
Wait, get back here!
At any rate, Split Fiction's fast-paced platforming is perfect for its exclusively co-op approach, particularly when played by people of differing skill levels, as it's mostly frictionless. Die outside of a boss battle and you'll rapidly respawn near your partner automatically. Die within a boss battle and you can
Esto tiene boss battle. Vamos a ver un boss battle. Nice.
re-enter the fray after some
Ni me lo
brief
imaginaba.
button mashing.
Okay.
Checkpoints are generously frequent even during boss fights. Chip their health down to halfway and you won't need to repeat an encounter entirely, even if both Zoe and Mio are defeated at the same time.
Ok, so los bosses tienen checkpoint. Adivinen para qué. Para los mancos. ¿Para qué más? Para los que siempre se están quejando de que es muy difícil. No sé, creo que es para eso. ¿Para qué otra cosa podría ser un checkpoint a mitad de un boss? Yo nunca he visto eso en Elden Ring, en Demon's Souls, en Lies of P, en Another Craft's Treasure, en Sekiro, en Ninja Gaiden. Es la primera vez que yo veo eso, ¿o me equivoco? Un checkpoint a mitad de boss. ¿Cuál es la lloradera? Vamos a ir viendo esto.
This is welcome because, as incredibly imaginative as the many boss fights are, it's not unusual to
Se ve bien los boss fights. Se ven bien. No voy a mentir.
Commonly after getting respawned under a salvo of deadly attacks that wipe you out
par de bosses.
blink
Nice.
back into existence.
Nice.
As such, they were only ever brief setbacks, and we never had to repeat anything to the degree it felt like a chore. Overall, it's not a particularly difficult game for, say, two dads with somewhere in the vicinity of 80 years of video game literacy behind them, but I don't crave punishing difficulty and never have. For me, Split Fiction soars thanks to its satisfying focus on communication, collaboration, and constant variety.
Oh man, I love water slides.
It's figuring out the path and
By the way,
the
se
joy
ve
of
visualmente
suggesting the right
se ve
puzzle
nice,
solution.
entretenido.
It's laughing at untimely misunderstandings, knowing the penalty for failure is never especially severe.
Feels good, doesn't it?
It's deciding whether to go on 3 or if it's 1, 2, 3, go. Split Fiction is nothing if not a game that makes you know what it would feel like to need your best
Yo no sé si yo pongo a jugar esto a mi esposa conmigo, probablemente termine rompiéndome un control.
friend to drag you off your booby-trapped toilet before it explodes.
1.
Jugando conmigo Mario Party. Ay, bendito.
You've all seen Lethal Weapon 2, right?
Esa parte fue
we're a pair
intensa.
of 40-year-old dads, yeah? Watching two of my kids play after I finished it, I've since seen a couple of possible bottlenecks so far, related to timing their way past a deadly obstacle. But if less experienced players have no one around to swoop in and save the day, the option to simply skip forward to the next checkpoint is available as a last resort. Split Fiction doesn't want to stall anyone indefinitely.
El
It
visual
wants
está
to be
nice.
played.
¿Sabes? Los mundos se ve super nice.
Check this out.
Split Fiction is so good at wanting to be played, it's hard to stop playing. It simply doesn't stay the same long enough for it to ever become boring. If you've ever wondered whether it would be possible to
recuerdo haber jugado un juego de
squeeze SSX
snowboarding
and Shadow of
en
the
el
Colossus into
64,
the same story, wonder
parecido
no
así.
more. Split
Nice, qué
Fiction found a
entretenido.
way. Zoe and Mio are fantasy and sci-fi authors respectively, and the action is essentially divided equally between the two genres, but the fantasy and sci-fi branches of Split Fiction are anything but static.
En verdad tengo que ser honesto, el level design, sabe, la variedad de diferentes level. Damn.
The story doesn't pendulum between a single sci-fi world and a single fantasy world repeatedly for 14 hours. The levels are always different, each with their own
Eso
special
es lo que estamos
hooks.
hablando. Cada level es
What the hell, Zoe?
diferente a lo que he visto, ¿sabes? Llevo aquí cuánto, casi 9 minutos y todos los levels súper diferentes. El level design, tengo que aceptarlo, está bien exagerado.
Mio's mental archive of sci-fi ideas range from a neon-splashed futuristic
Pero
city
¿con quién
full of
jugar algo
flying
así?
traffic with gravity-defying cyber ninjas that will have you and a partner helping each other down a high-altitude highway while operating on totally different axes, to a space complex next to a dying star releasing pulsing blasts that will disintegrate Zoe and Mio if they're caught out of cover.
Bob.
That's just 2, and I'm extremely hesitant to drill down on any more. Not knowing how each new level and side story will shake up the backdrop and the gameplay is a huge part of what makes Split Fiction such tremendous fun to scoot through.
Well,
El
this
cambio.
is certainly unexpected.
Zoe's fantasy worlds are initially a bit twee by comparison and generally had me looking forward to the short sci-fi diversions that are scattered throughout, but they do feature the better boss battles, though I'm reluctant to spoil the specifics of any of those either. The fantasy portion does peak later in the story as it becomes a little darker and more grand scale, which is a good springboard for the lengthy and meticulously engineered final level. It's not just the most impressively executed stretch of Split
El nivel de diseño, vuelvo y digo.
Fiction overall.
Miren,
It's
sabe,
one of the most
la
memorable
creatividad.
finales I've ever played.
Damn.
Split Fiction is a fine-looking game throughout, but the spectacle of the entire ending segment.
Damn. Ese cambio ahí visual. Eso fue como un Inception.
Cutest stretch of Split Fiction overall. It's one of the most memorable finales I've ever played.
Miren eso.
Split Fiction is a fine-looking game throughout, but the spectacle of the entire ending segment is a real visual victory for Hazelight.
Mindfuck. Vamos a hablar veredicto. No hablo mal de nada del juego, glitches,
adventure that pinballs from one genre extreme to another. Split Fiction is a roller coaster of gameplay ideas and styles that are usually discarded as quickly as they're introduced.
Una gran variedad de juegos dentro de un solo juego. Súper divertido.
With no ideas sticking around long enough to get stale before making way for the next.
Horas.
It's a victory of imagination and restraint in equal measure. Hazelight may have been rewriting the co-op rulebook for a decade now, but Split Fiction is a new chapter that you and a partner cannot miss.
Ok. Un 9. Ahí lo tienen. Un 9. Y el GOTY no llegó a 9 del año, Monster Hunter. Nada. Yo voy a seguir viendo un par de gameplays por ahí, corillo. Voy a consultar con mi esposa si le gustaría jugar algo así conmigo. No creo que me quiera acompañar a jugar algo así. Pero lo voy a intentar. Corillo, no olviden que me puedes seguir en donde. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, para que vean todo, vacilen conmigo. Eso sí, corillo, los veo. Cuídense.